Okay, guys, welcome to another episode of the Calcioteers. We've got myself and Elliot here as he's fighting a death to the fight there, fight to the death with the sweater there. um, we don't have for no. I enjoyed it. I'm sure everyone will too. We're without Francesco tonight, which is a shame because we have a lot of smack to talk about Juventus and there's possible exiting out of the Serie A if they don't drop out of the Super League, and Ronaldo being a crybaby about not qualifying for Champions League and yada yada yada. We'll get to that, and obviously the AC Milan's brilliant spanking of Juventus. I loved it. It was one of the greatest days of my life. It was just amazing. And it's funny. You guys just played against
Yeah.
Crotone, and you guys are playing tomorrow against Inter. It's just like what? Like a day or two apart. It's like the lowest team gonna get relegated, and then you're playing the champions. It's like
Stupid.
it's dumb. And we didn't even know that Napoli and Udinese played, and it was 5-1. And I was like, it was crazy. So let's start off with my boys, my team, Fiorentina and Lazio. What can I say? Savic, by the way, if everyone's asking, Savic just has a deviated septum. He's got a surgery. He's gonna wear like a Zorro mask, like Zeko and Torres did back in the day. Those are sick. He's gonna recover from that. He did take a quick hit to that. But what can we say about Vlahovic? I mean, this guy's just on fire. Obviously, he's gonna leave. I mean, is it more possible? Could you see him more at Milan or Roma? Because I mean, it was. I think this week they said Roma had put out something that said, or Mourinho said, no, Belotti's our main guy. Would
Yeah.
you kind of want to say, hang on a second, like maybe we should look into Vlahovic more, or is that kind of like a Milan thing? He's like, no, he's going to Milan, or I forgot about Juventus. Like I can't see him going to Juve, but who
Yeah.
knows? Maybe Juve then loan him out, like we've kind of mentioned it before in previous episodes. But what can you think? Like, is it too easy to rule him out as Roma target, or is it like you still would want him? Obviously.
It's difficult because I think a lot of like it all depends on the driving price of Captain Delusion over there.
Captain Delusion.
With Fiorentina because he's in a very, from a business point of view, he's in a very marketable place because everybody and their mother wants Vladovic on their team,
Yeah,
and he
exactly.
knows he can get twice as what he's worth because if he's having this great season, 21 goals, 21 years old. He's got what I think 22 in all competitions, something like that. Maybe I don't know if he scored in the Copa Italia or anything like that, but anyway, he's got large
Yeah,
numbers off on a Fiorentina team that's either looks like Barcelona or looks bang average. Because they
yeah,
obviously that's a team that has their moments with the team that they have and stuff like that. And Vladovic is just a special player. But I think the asking price is going to drive Roma out of business. So because I don't think
hmm
Roma's going to pay 65 million for him. I
no,
think I think AC Milan would. No,
yes,
no disrespect, but I think that's the type of thing that they do because if you remember the year that they spent 200 million on a bunch of nothing. Uh,
2018, yeah, it's like
yeah,
2017, 2018
yeah,
season, yeah, and Silva was on that squad too.
and there's like, oh yeah, I remember that, and then
Yeah,
it's like, I think he's gonna jack up that price as much as possible and get someone to pay it a ridiculous amount. Um, I would rather Vladovic than Bellotti because there was a number that came across, the other day. Roma English on Twitter, or not the Roma English, but the one that we know on Instagram and Twitter and stuff.
oh right,
He
yeah,
he had the stat like his goal to game, goal slash assist ratio per game or to game is lower than, or Bellotti's is lower than like uh the other striker that they have over there, Zaha.
yeah,
I What's his name? Um,
is it Zaha?
Whatever, something like that.
Zaza? It's Zaza.
Zaza. Yeah, Zaza.
Yeah,
That,
Zaza.
so
Yeah, the
that's
Italian Mr. Clean. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So that's concerning. On the other hand, though, he's playing with a horrible Torino team. If he comes to Roma, his numbers will go up. But Vlahovic is not playing on a much better team in Florence. So I think the price of Vlahovic is going to continue to rise and rise and rise until only a couple of teams will be able to try and pay it. So I think he'll drive Roma out of that business because as good as Vlahovic is, I don't see Mourinho spending 60
Yeah.
million on a striker. I can see him spending 65 million, but I think he would spend that money on a more of a midfielder. I could see him spending big on that. I don't know who they would be or anything like that, but that type of deal just smells a little bit more Mourinho like than a striker, and things like that. But anyway, I don't know. I think Belotti's the one. I think Roma will probably get him for something around 40,
Mm.
maybe 45. He'll probably break the transfer ban. Maybe Rome will break it twice in the summer. So
Oh
you get
yeah.
40, and then you pay someone else 45. But I think Vlahovic is a AC Milan signing, which is going to be great for them. But
Well, they need it too, right?
yeah, but also you don't know. Maybe it's something. Maybe there's a left field signing, like kind of the Mourinho signing. Maybe he ends up somewhere where none of us expect,
Yeah.
Leipzig or Wolfsburg or something like that. Or
Yeah. Monaco just splashed the Russian money, just like shut up, we'll take them.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, this game that against you guys though, I thought he scored 2 goals. I wasn't like overly impressed with his performance though. He was
Yeah.
there was games earlier this season where he's been way better. He was good in the sense of he got a brace, but I mean, if you just want to look at game performances, there were 3 players in the Roma game that were better than him. Osimhen
Yeah.
had a better performance, and so it wasn't a great. His first goal, he basically just put his foot there and just went in, and he didn't have to
Yeah.
do any of the work. And the second one was a great header, but it wasn't like one of those performances where like you're blown away by it,
Yeah.
like some of the other ones. But he helped his team in it, a lot in getting the points and. The 2% of Lazio fans that think they're in the Champions League right now understand that they're not, um,
Yeah.
and things like that.
Yeah.
And it's the Lazio that we kind of been seeing all year
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
they either play great or they
Mm-hmm.
underachieve,
Mm-hmm.
and it's never because they've come up big in the Derby and others. And again,
Yep.
this other thing I have the problem with the schedule is not only do we play Inter the champs tomorrow, then we get to play again on Saturday. Like I don't understand this idea because when there's Champions League and Europa League games, I kind of get it, but the thing is, why? What's the thought process around just dropping these weird games in the middle of the week for no apparent reason? There's no
Yeah.
Champions League, no Europa League games, and
Yeah.
even when they do that, like a week after the Champions League or Europa League, I just don't like that either because now you're asking teams that don't play in the middle of the week to play in the middle of the week. It's just so stupid. So Roma played Sunday. Now they're playing Wednesday, and then we're playing Saturday. I mean, it just again, we're playing pointless games at this point. It's just
Yeah.
like it's more of we're just doing this for Mourinho to so he can see which players he wants to keep and all that. But
Yeah.
yeah, but Lazio again. I was concerned last week when you were up 4-1 and almost,
Oh yeah. With Genoa, and I'm just like, hey guys, like stop it, it's not a joke anymore, ha ha ha, like stop. And I was getting like, so and it's funny like when I post that story and right away the Inzaghi to Spurs, and I'm like, this is a bunch of BS, but like take them, and it was like you and a couple people. And you said like at least you have like a sense of what's going on opposed to the other people, and then like everyone else is messaging like, cool, who would you rather take and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, listen, at this point I'd rather take the janitor. I don't care.
Ryan Mason.
Like, yeah, yeah, Ryan Mason. Send him over here. I don't care. I'll take Totti. He'll like destroy the club from the inside. I don't care. anybody but him, because I feel like, especially this summer, I mean, Claudio's gonna sell his other club, the City B team that got promoted to City A, because he can't
Yeah.
have two City A teams, which is funny because he used to sell, all that money some of that money he would get, a good chunk of the money they would get from selling those players, he would dip it into that City B team, and finally they got promoted. So
Yeah.
it's going to be funny where that money's going to go and stuff like that. And I feel like this is going to be yet another summer transfer window where we're not going to get the players that we need. Like, I'm not looking for a star player. I'm looking for someone that, again, I've always asked for CDM, a proper CDM, because Lucas Leiva is like about one tiptoe away from breaking both of his legs. So, and we don't need another striker. Please don't give us another striker. We don't need another
Interesting
striker.
spot though, because you're good enough to so you can get back in the Champions League, but you're also not good enough where I would consider just blowing it up,
Yeah.
because Immobile, I've always been a big fan of him, even
Yeah.
when he left Torino and stuff. I think he's amazing striker. Then this
Yeah.
season he comes in and it's like a little weird at the start of the season when you're like eighth, ninth place, and then you're
Yeah.
right back up the table, and then
Yeah.
Immobile doesn't score a goal for 2 months. And then
Yeah.
he
That
starts
was
scoring
just.
again. And then obviously you have Savage and Alberto, who are really important pieces. But like really question is whether or not it's worth trying to invest more into this team, or just
Mhm.
trying to cut your losses and trying to essentially take
Yeah.
one step backwards to take two steps forward. It just depends on what the mentality is of the side, because on one hand, you don't want to risk, the possibility of finishing ahead Roma for the third year in a row, which I mean, it may not sound like you don't get a trophy for that, but it's something that's important to the
Yeah.
city, because
Yeah.
we went nine straight without finish behind you, and then so even getting 2 years in a row where historically speaking Roma had always kind of finished ahead of Lazio, you're in a good
Yeah. Yeah.
place where for the moment you're better than Roma, but then
Right.
Mourinho comes
Right.
in and could change everything. So it's like,
That's what I'm scared about.
do you is the smart move is to try to build this team with another piece, or try to blow it up to try to sort of, I don't know how to explain it, but like to try to sort of reload the team so you can be where you want to be, rather than just trying to hold
Yeah.
on to this team enough so you can finish against a head Roma for maybe one more year or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, and it comes to a coach thing too. It's like I said it before, we're not gonna get a sorry, we're not gonna get someone special. So unfortunately, we're stuck with Inzaghi, which, and they save money. It's kind of smart move in a sense because it was a kind of a Primavera coach, and he came up and he had some experience under his belt. With yada yada yada. But again, his system is just overused again. Again, it's predictable, and I find that in Zaghi, as much as I coach and I try to back him as much as I can, I feel like he's Mourinho is like the Boston Bruins in a sense. He's gonna attack you mentally over and over. The press conferences, the
Yeah,
sideline. I bet you any money they're gonna
he's gonna
go
win
after
games up
him.
here.
Mourinho,
Or
yeah, and
does
Mourinho's gonna win 10 out of 10. It doesn't matter the final score, whatever it is. Mourinho's gonna win mentally. And Inzaghi, he's a very emotional guy, as we see with the barrel rolls and the flips and the yelling and screaming and running like Usain Bolt up and down the field. And I think that we've seen Mourinho's kind of tactics on the sidelines and how he can be very emotional. But I feel like he's gonna sit and wait, and do his thing and just wait and just pick us off. So that's why, like you said, it's like kind of, what do we do? Do we reload? Do we whatever? And then now Savic, he's on kind of a standstill. He's like, okay, do I leave? Do I go to Inter? Do I pull the trigger? Now what do I do? Right?
I
So,
don't I
I
don't
mean,
I don't think you guys would sell for Tinder though. But maybe
that's the thing.
because you have this weird like brotherhood with each other, which is I never got. But
Yeah, we've sold like Pandev to them. We've sold Rocky to them. We've sold like pretty important players, and it all came down to like bad blood with the president, and the president's like, you know what? Instead of sending these guys out of the league, I'm gonna sell them to like not a rival, but like someone that's like, hey, what? Like, I hate you, but not really. I'm gonna sell
Yeah.
them to Inter. You know what I mean?
Plus,
It's just
it
like
it
it's
would
weird.
it'd be kind of like you know, I mean, if they do a deal with this with Inter, it's just like it's kind of only doing to spite Juventus. Is they're already the best team, so we're going to
Yeah.
get one of our best players, not because we can win, and not for any other
Yeah.
reason, just to hold off Juventus from winning again, which I think is it's a fear that we are gonna all gonna have because of how many times they've won this damn thing. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but that seems like it. I don't know. It'll be petty, I think, just to sell to Inter
Yeah.
because they've already had the best team and you're going to get whatever 80 million for him, but is Lazio really going to spend that money and get
We'd
some?
be lucky to get 80 million. Lucky. Like, I know
Yeah,
he's been linked to Manchester United, and he had his 120 or 100 and up. And then, like, we had a chance to sell him, we didn't. He wanted to stay cool, whatever. And it's like now it's like 80 million. It's lucky because I
you
feel
missed the
like
boat. You
he's
should have
not
sold
getting
him.
any younger. Sorry.
You
Yeah.
missed the boat. You should have sold him the year that they were talking 100 million for him.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Oh, 100% for sure. Yeah, most definitely. So, I mean, only time will tell. Will be an interesting summer transfer window. Obviously, more interesting for you guys. I'm very, very curious on Mourinho, what tricks he's gonna pull up his sleeve and stuff like that. So we'll see. Inter and Sampdoria 5-1. This game I enjoyed, obviously, about the goals and the murdering of Sampdoria, but how Claudio Ranieri did the guard of honor, whatever it's called. I mean, this is something that's never been done in City, but I like how he adapted this over to the Italian league after 5 years ago winning the Premier League with Leicester, and the timing couldn't be any more right. Like they do it with Inter, the champions, but they couldn't do it the 9 other times with 8 other times or whatever with Juventus. So I enjoy that a lot. Obviously, Sampdoria right now it is what it is. Like you can't really do much with them. Next season, I think they're gonna make some surprises through the transfer window as well. I think they're gonna maybe add a little bit more surprises. Maybe who knows? But again, we look at this game; it was just kind of one-sided. Not really much we could talk about that. Inter was just Inter, and they dominated, and that's that. So it's funny to hear all these rumors though. Paco and Martinez. That's all I've been hearing. Martinez is going to Barca. It's like, man, they're not going anywhere. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't see Lukaku going to Man City anytime soon. I
No.
think he's going to bang out two more seasons in Inter, and then he's going to, I don't think he would go back to the Prem. I think he's going to stuck in La Liga and go from there, right?
I don't
So,
know.
I don't know if you
I
feel
think
that the same way in that sense.
yeah, I think Martinez is more likely to leave than Lukaku is. I think he's kind of found his niche
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
league. And Martinez is going to sign this contract. And if Barca come in a year from now, he'll be more willing to take that chance than before. Um, I do think that it's just a matter of time before he ends up in La Liga with one big ones, whether that's Atletico, Real Madrid, or Barca.
Oh,
I
Atletico
guess
would be a dream.
I think it'd be Barca though because I think Atletico, not Atletico Madrid. I think Real Madrid want Mbappe, and I think that's basically their main transfer target. Um, it won't happen this summer, but next summer, so I don't think they'll make a move for him. But I think he'll stay for another year, maybe two, and then head off. But I think Lukaku could stay for several years. I mean, at this point, he shouldn't leave until he stops winning the title.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely for sure. So I mean, Inter again, champs, congratulations, and I'm so glad that it was somebody else other than Juventus. So,
Oh, yeah, it's you, but
Udinese,
I wish it was AC Milan, but that's just
yeah,
yeah. I would.
yeah. Hey, I'd be happy. Honestly, like, hey, the thing that kind of got me going with the whole AC Milan thing was Pioli, aka Padre Bio,
Yeah,
saying, "I didn't say anything about winning. You guys did." It's like, cool. Hang on. Pump the brakes there, bud. You love the fact that you were winning. You love the fact that this, and you mentioned a couple times about we're gonna do it, this and that. Maybe he didn't say it that direct, but there was hints, and I'm like, okay, man, like you can't go back on your word. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, so
Yeah.
it's just so crazy. The rumors are like, if they don't qualify for Champions League, he's gonna get sacked. It's like, okay, guys, like chill. Like if they sack him, like I don't know who else. Like it's gonna be tough who they're gonna replace. I mean, it's easy but tough at the same time. I'm not too sure, right? I can't think of any. I can't see Sorry going to Milan if anything. I just it doesn't fit his system, doesn't fit his kind of.
Maybe Spalletti, but I think Spalletti's going to Napoli.
Yeah, there was rumors before, like there was talks before Spalletti going to Milan before Pioli came over, but it got really difficult because of the Inter contract that he had and blah blah blah, and it was just a huge mess. But yeah, that's one of that's what I was told or whatever, and that's one of the reasons why he couldn't go. But I think Spalletti's going to go to Napoli. I think we've mentioned that before.
Yeah.
You mentioned that before. I think that's kind of a safe bet for him. And again, I think it's going to be the expandables of Serie A. You've got Conte, Mourinho, Spalletti. Hopefully, Sarri comes out of nowhere and just becomes everyone's saving grace and comes to the Serie A.
Yeah.
I mean, I love this, have him back. Smoke, 4 packs a day. That'd be great to see. Napoli and Spezia 4-1. Now we're gonna Roma, Crotone, Juve, and Milan. I'm gonna save at the end there, so I'm gonna scoot through everything else. Verona in Torino 1-1. Atlanta smashing Parma 5-2. Parma are relegated, unfortunately, but hey, it's kind of their own fault. I mean, you said it too. They've had the players, they didn't utilize them properly, and they kind of have to suffer for that. So, Cagliari and Benevento 3-1. Benevento's coach Inzaghi is leaving Benevento, even if by some miracle they get saved.
No, they're getting no, it's done.
It's done, right? But he's still leaving regardless, right? Sassuolo being general, and we mentioned beginning of the episode, Napoli and Udinese 5-1. That was a bloodbath and a half. So going back to Roma and Crotone. Wow, I know it's Crotone. I get it. But can we talk about your boy? Is it Boya? How do people pronounce it differently?
I pronounce it incorrectly, but I don't care.
Okay.
I say Boja Moriel.
Okay.
It's technically Boja, but I just put it R for some fucking reason. I don't know. I just like it that way.
Whatever. I mean, it is what it is. Wow, this guy, like, I like him as I think he's great. Like every time he comes on, he shines, he sparkles. I mean, and he's an assister too. Like he assists too. He's not just a tap in striker. He's not like he's fast. He knows how to drive in the balls and stuff like that. And what is it? Is it 14 million, 15 million after the 2-year loan to buy out?
It's 15 million this year, and then it came out today that they're going to exercise the option. And 17 goals, seven assists. I think something like that's his numbers this year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, with Mourinho, I think this guy's gonna become an animal.
He's gonna be.
I still do think Roma go and buy another striker, but by no extension does Moriel then all of a sudden become a spark plug. I think he's a guy who could be rotated as a starter, and Mourinho was watching that game, and he certainly liked what he saw because he put the clapping emoji underneath Roma's Instagram post, which I thought was cool.
You were probably just fanboying. You're like, ah!
Yeah. This idea that he was doing it for money just kind of died on the spot there, because if you're just coaching for money, you don't do that on
yeah, no, for sure.
So he was amazing. 2 goals. Again, a second brace against Crotone. And then obviously Pellegrini scored 2 goals in like 4 minutes. And 2 goals and an assist. And then Mkhitaryan had a goal and 2 assists. I mean, we rolled them because it was 0-0 after the first half. We hit the bar twice, and then we scored 4 goals. We scored in the 70th, 72nd, and I think 77th minute. So it just happened so quickly, and then we scored another one. After Moriel scored at the beginning of the second half, and then he got another one at the end of the second half. So he just crazy, and I think I think now Mourinho has basically decided that Pellegrini and Moriel are in his plans, because you can't watch that game and think that you're going to do better in the central midfield with that, than Pellegrini.
Yeah.
Even though there's rumors of him going, I never buy rumors like that, because he's never expressed anything other than complete joy for playing for Roma. It's what he's always wanted to do. It's what his childhood dream, and he's captain of his childhood team. So
yeah.
he's not
So
leading.
why leave that? Yeah, exactly.
Especially now after that performance, there's no way he's not part of this team. He's the captain, and I think it's going to be about surrounding him with other different. And I think I don't know if it's a conspiracy theory. I think Mourinho called Fonseca before the Crotone game and asked him to play his formation, because I think Mourinho wants to figure out who fits into his team and who doesn't.
Interesting.
This could be just random, but the formation that we played last weekend is the formation that Mourinho plays, and we weren't playing that formation before, and all of a sudden we change it. I just think there might be some behind the scenes. They're both Portuguese. They probably know each other on some level. So that was amazing, and obviously the youngsters, Zalewski getting a assist on the end on the last goal, and Darbo being looking like
Darbo. Yeah, I like Darbo.
He looks like a freaking
beast. He looks like I think that. I mean, getting on the topic of youngsters, stuff like that. I mean, there's Darbo and stuff like that, but Zaniolo.
Yeah.
I know it's tough to say and stuff like that, but do you think that you think Mourinho's gonna, because we know Mourinho how he is, and there's players that love him, some players that hate him. There's rumors that Mourinho doesn't believe in the youngsters, and you see him work with youngsters and stuff like that. Do you think it's gonna be a hit or a miss with Zaniolo and Mourinho, or is it kind of that injury is still gonna hinder Zaniolo and it gonna make Mourinho think like, I don't think he's gonna fit into my plans?
Yeah.
What do you think in that sense?
The injury scares me with Zaniolo because it's a second knee injury, and he's only like 21 years old. That one's if I'm being honest, the dime piece of Mourinho's Roma will be Pellegrini. It won't be Zaniolo. Zaniolo is Roma's best player probably, but the one who will get the most out of Mourinho will be Pellegrini. He's going to go from and I still think he's one of the best midfielders in the league, don't get me wrong, but he's going to make that Bruno jump. The jump that Bruno made from Sporting, and I'm not going to say from where he was, because where Bruno was at Sporting is in the ballpark of where Pellegrini is now, and I think he'll go from that level to Pellegrini or Man United Bruno level. And I'm not saying he's gonna all of a sudden become a top 5-10 player in the world or anything like that, like Bruno has. But that's the player who's gonna most benefit. Zaniolo, I think, will thrive under him, but I just don't have a really great intake on Zaniolo's personality yet, so it's hard for me to judge how he's going to respond to certain things, and because we've only seen him that first year and then parts of it the second year, so I haven't really got a vibe of who Zaniolo is as a personality on the pitch, so that's why I'm just not totally sure. Another thing we'll see Justin Kluivert back in the side for sure. Leipzig doesn't.
Murray's a big fan of him too.
Yeah, he said 1 more year in Ajax and I'll come get
you.
So, and Leipzig don't look like they're going to activate the purchase option on him anyways. So Roma will have him back. It looks like Cengiz Under will be back with Roma after going to Leicester. And I think Carlos Perez is probably out the door, but those are two wingers. And I know Mourinho probably isn't a big fan of Mkhitaryan because they've worked together previously, and it just doesn't seem like that's someone that's going to be a part of his Roma. But after the way he played this weekend, he should at least consider him at least.
Yeah, just give him a shot.
Maybe not to the same extent, but a less advanced role, maybe as a bench guy, someone that can kind of the role he played the first season where he came off the bench and did some damage rather than having to be relied on constantly, because regardless of what you think of
Mm.
Mkhitaryan, 12 goals, 13 assists. I'll take that any day of the week. But again, it all comes back, I think, to the one who will make the most dent in as far as Mourinho's football is going to be Pellegrini. I think Zaniolo will be great, and I think he'll do his thing. But I just don't know how the relationship is going to go between them. I
Yeah.
have a more feel of who Pellegrini is as a personality, and I think that's the type of personality that would work with Mourinho and other things like that. And yeah, so I'm just don't get rid of him. I think he's going to be really important. And then also I'm interesting to see what happens with the wing backs, Spinazzola and Karsdorp, how they're going to play. If one is going to have to be instructed more defensively, and another one will be going up and down the flank kind of wing back, and which one will be which. Because I think both have incredible qualities in
Yeah, I
going.
love Spinazzola. Yeah,
I
he's
love
very attack
Spinazzola, but
minded.
I think Karsdorp 100% needs to be a regular starter for Roma even next season.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I think he has more assists out of as a defender more than anybody else, I think, in the league.
Yeah.
Because I think he has like 6 or 7 assists in Serie A as a whatever you want to call him, a wing back or a right back, whatever you want to say. So I
Yeah.
think he's someone who's going to be able to be part of Mourinho's Roma. But I think you're going to get a feeling about what Mourinho wants to see from his team and which players are going to be involved in that and which players aren't. And I just there's some that obviously aren't, but I think they're Pellegrini and Moriel more or less just said, yeah, we're back next season with this team, and I think Karsdorp even said that. There's some questions about whether Pedro or Mkhitaryan will be involved in it. I like them both, but I could understand why he would want to move on because I think he can. I think mostly because Justin Clive, I think he could really get something special with that kid. Um, because of that, I think one of those two, or even both, could be sacrificed. And obviously, he has plans for the goalkeeper. He's got plans for the midfield and others. And I think the midfield that Roma have, he likes most of it. I think Veretout will be very important in his team and things like that as well. And so there's a lot of distinctive factors in the way Roma played in general and the way they played on the weekend that kind of the biggest takeaways from that game is more or less the individuals that will be a part of Mourinho's Roma rather than beating the worst team in the league by 5.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny, your boy there, when he went on loan to Rennes last season, played with Galatasaray, Inzogia, he's a
Yeah. So,
defender, CDM.
oh yeah,
Uh,
he won the
what's his name?
Europa League with Sevilla. What is his name?
Yes, Inzogia.
Steven and Zug. Okay. Yeah, fuck.
Yeah, what?
Zug-
Yeah. Hang on, let me look at the name because I saw an interesting. Oh, see, I can't even find it. An interesting kind of thing there. Yeah, Steven Nzonzi.
oh, there it is.
Yeah, so he's like, there's a report was saying that he's on loan and stuff like that on Rennes still, and he's like, oh, I want to go back. Like, I want to go back. Let me go back. I want to go back, and it's like, you know what I mean? And it's like, 32. You could use them as a style. Like, I'm not too sure, but it's funny how it's, when it came to Roma. And were you happy when he came to Roma? Like,
I
what were your
thought
thoughts when he?
I thought it was gonna be. This is one of my bad moments. I thought it was gonna be one of the best signings in the season because of what he had done the last couple of years at Sevilla and Stoke. Everything said that he would be a great signing. It just didn't work out that way. He had one game where he scored, and there was another few performances which was pretty good, but outside of that, it wasn't anything special. And I think he can want to come back all he wants. He's not going to be playing for Mourinho's Roma.
Yeah, that's the thing, and I feel like, there's the rumors with Matic and everything like that, and it's like, that'd be cool if it was like a couple of years ago, but now it's like, I think that obviously Mourinho is looking for a nice youthful squad. Obviously,
Yeah.
he's gonna have exceptions of Zeko. I mean, the Zeko saga is always kind of back and forth,
I think
but
he's gone. I don't see a way he comes back.
you think he's gone? There's some people saying he's gonna
Because you
stay.
can't.
I
This
think
is what
Zeko.
this can't happen. You can't. re-sign Moriel and sign Bellotti and still have Dzeko on the team. It just does. There's just there's not enough space there, and things like that. And obviously there'll be other options as well. Bellotti's not the only one. I would rather have Moise Kean. I've been a fan of Moise Kean a long time. That's the type of. But again, I think there will be bigger clubs interested in him, and because of the season he had at PSG,
Sorry, did you say Moise Kean? You kind of broke out there.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be amazing. I know they always said like, oh, Zaniolo and Moise Kean would be the perfect pair up, and I mean, yeah, that would be a dream. That'd be very good for sure.
Yeah, so that's one, and obviously what I really want is never going to happen. I want the one from PSV. I want Daniel Malin. I think he's got incredible quality.
That guy's killer, man. He's so good.
If he came to the league, he would be a scoring machine, and he would be what I think a lot of people think Bellotti and Vlahovic will be long term. But I think he would score like 25 goals from the jump. But again, number one, it'd be expensive, and number two, Roma isn't looking over there. So it's just one of those things where I wish I could just take their attention and just kind of slight them over there. But obviously I'll take whatever I can get for Roma striker. But with Dzeko's not part of it. I think, and I've kind of become this defender of Dzeko in Roma circles, and I understand he's not what he once was, and it's been hard to defend him the last couple games or weeks of the season. But I think it's one of those things. You never know what you have until it's gone. And considering what he did with Roma, I think when he's not on the team anymore, you're going to realize, how important and valuable he was. He has more European goals with Roma than Totti does. I mean, and that's no small task. He's I think he's got like one less goal in the Champions League, and then he's got like 17 in the Europa League. So it's like I think it's 32 goals and 15 assists in I don't know how many games, but for in Europe, and then obviously he's been pretty consistent. Not lately, but in general with the team. So I hope that he doesn't go to Inter. That's all I want. Just don't go to Inter.
I think he should go back to Bundesliga. I've always said that.
Wolfsburg maybe.
Bundesliga say Wolfsburg or Leverkusen. I think Leverkusen might use that. I just don't know where he's gonna fit. If he's gonna Wolfsburg though, it's like he's gonna be like it won't be a starter obviously, right? Like unless they get rid of your boy there.
Yeah, they're not getting rid of Wilkhurst. I mean he's if you're just talking general, he's been the most underrated striker in European football.
Oh my God.
He's scoring goals like fun, but it's like no, we're not saying that close and rise.
No,
because he's been amazing. What you think Wolfsburg are riding in third place for no reason? No, I mean Brekalo obviously stole the show over the weekend, but he's been their best player. I mean he's been amazing. So I think Dzeko going there as a number 2, I think would work. I don't think Dzeko's in a position to say I need to be number 1. If he wants to be number 1, he can go to a middle table team in Bundesliga and maybe do something. Even he wouldn't even start in Leverkusen. People and Patrick Schick.
Yeah.
Those two didn't really work together. And secondly, people can make all the jokes they want about Patrick Schick. I think he has 14 goals in all competitions with Leverkusen this season. It's not bad. You know what I mean? So
it's not bad. Yeah.
So he's not going to come in there but Dzeko should go to the Bundesliga or go to the MLS or
imagine MLS.
Wow. I think so. I do a podcast with a friend of mine who's from St. Louis, and they're going to get an MLS team soon, and that they have a lot of Bosnian heritage in.
Interesting.
So I think actually, and he's been talking about this with me for years. I think when Dzeko's European journey is over, he should go to the new St. Louis team because number one, it's a new team, new situation, it's a new country. And number 2, in the St. Louis area, there's a lot of Bosnian heritage and people from that part of the world. So he would fit in there. But I don't know. That's just me. But again, if that's not the situation for him, then a Bundesliga team, I don't see him going back to the Premier League.
No.
It's just it's I think it's really either Bundesliga or something out of left field for Dzeko. But it's clear that Roma needs to move on past Dzeko this season. I want him to score one more goal this season. Because just so he can get to 120. It just sounds better than 19 as far as goals. Just get to 120.
Yeah.
That's a perfect spot, and then just do what you do.
Yeah.
Although I don't think he'll start tomorrow, but he'll probably start the last game of the season.
Yeah. Yeah, and just a nice sending off and stuff like that. When we talk about the Juve and Milan game, my oh my, and a couple of things with Juve. Again, it sucks that Francesco couldn't join us because, again, he reminded me of kind of a Trump supporter. It's not over, and
Yeah.
he always had a counter for everything, and he's just like a true fan. But, Juventus talks about, Juve getting diminished from Serie A if they don't, properly or drop out of the European Super League, which I don't know. It's probably all talks, whatever. Just keep everything going. But imagine Serie A without Juventus. So I mean, wouldn't that kind of be a situation where they would have a draft or like kind of shoot all the players in different directions? Or like that would be kind of interesting to see what Juventus as a squad would be, with the players and everything. You know what I mean? Like,
It's interesting.
where are they gonna go?
I saw this brilliant thing on Twitter the other day where it says, according to reports, so there's some report about Houssem Aouar being interested in Juventus. And I remember the memes though, but it said he's going to something. He's gonna join Juventus. He's available for 30 million just to reject them or something. It was hilarious. But I think not to throw all my Harry Potter stuff around, but we're living in dark times for Juventus. It's just like
yeah,
this dark time.
100%.
Because Juventus are this situation where they've been winning, and all of a sudden, all this darkness is kind of catching up to them, and now they're basically they trapped themselves in a corner, and it's so ironic that a lot of Juventus fans blame Sarri for everything. He won the title with almost the same team with Pilro.
But that's what I mean. Yeah.
And Dybala was an animal under Sarri, and I think it's like, okay, we're gonna keep Pilro or we're gonna sign Allegri, someone we've had before, and it's just like there's not a lot of leeway, and Zidane's not going to Juve. Why would he?
I know. I even saw reports today. It's like, man, like he's not going. Give it up. Like,
yeah, because the thing is, I'm gonna be honest. I low key think he's a fraud. I think he's a good manager that has become great just because of the players that he has had. I think he's a Sevilla level, like Wolverhampton in England, like a Sassuolo level manager. I think no disrespect, he's just not a world. But the problem is if he goes to Juve and failed, he's gonna look like a fraud that he actually is.
No, exactly.
But he doesn't want the rest of the world to know this. You know what I mean? Because all you see on his resume is trophy after trophy after trophy. Yes, but he did have Ronaldo, Toni Kroos, Luka Modric, and Karim Benzema. So it would be hard to look like a horrible coach with those players under your helm. But going to Juve with a whole bunch of stuff that's not proven, I don't know. And there's a lack of leadership, I feel, in the team, and they just I think Juventus for some reason don't want that to be on De Ligt's shoulders, because I think she should be the captain. I think he should have been the captain last year. To me, and with all due respect for my Man City friends, I think De Ligt is just a little bit better than Ruben Diaz. I think he's the best defender in the world.
Hang on, hold up.
Go ahead.
Rewind. What'd you say?
I think De Ligt's best manager. Best defender in the world. Honestly, it's all right if you don't agree.
No. I disagree, and it's just like I'm trying to wrap my head around that. Like with him in Ajax, he was a beast. But ever since he's been at Juventus, I feel like you haven't really.
You have to understand something. When you're watching Juventus, you're watching them as a team. You're not watching De Ligt individually. If you watch De Ligt individually, so if you watch the game with your eyes focused on that one player, he shows all the qualities that you would need and to see for the best defender in the world. His intelligence is unmatched. He's physical, and at the beginning there was a couple handball situations, but regardless, all right. So let me just put it this way: whether you want, and I'm not into this thing where if he's in the conversation regardless. So you can say Diaz. You can
No,
say
I take him over Van Dijk any day of the week. For
okay,
sure.
got you. It's all good. It's all good. But he's in that tier, the top tier of defenders. It's not like the old days where people were trying to say Messi was or Ronaldo was better than Messi. That's a conversation during the prime that I didn't even entertain. But you kind of get what I'm saying. But the thing is, he's at least a top 3 defender in the world. Again, rank how you want. I think we're in an era right now where there's no definitive answer to any of these questions. Best player in the world is up for debate. Best defender in the world, all of these different best midfielder, they're all up for debate. But the point is, he's your best defender, and he's one of the league's best defenders. So because of that, and he has leadership abilities. He was captain of Ajax at 19 years old. They have to look at this situation, and they have to let him not run the show, but let him be the next captain, be the leader of the team, because you have a leadership problem in general. And I mean, Ronaldo, I don't know if this is true, but there was a report today that he skipped Juventus training to go hang out with the Ferrari people. I don't know.
God.
I don't know if that's true, but I saw a picture with him with a Ferrari people holding a Juventus jersey, and I got a notification earlier. The problem is there's so much mess here, right? You have one of the best defenders in Delit. You have Western McKennie, who's been a big buy for them. I think he's the best American, and I think it's like and then you have a whole lot of nothing. Then you have Ronaldo, who puts up numbers but doesn't play like Cristiano Ronaldo of old.
Right.
I don't know if he played this weekend, but I sure didn't see any Ronaldo-esque moments on the pitch, and they just collapsed. And Milan is imploding at the same time, but they just made it look easy, and that's the problem. You have so many issues with not in the attack, in the midfield, in the defense, in the goal. Szczesny should go. They need to get another solution. They need Delit's great, but they need better defenders around him as well. They need to keep McKennie and then try to get somebody else to pair with him in the defensive aspect. You need an attacking midfielder that can push the ball up, and then you need another attacker. Even if Ronaldo doesn't leave, I think they need another striker that can give them at least a 15-goal season. So they're in turmoil. They're Juventus, so they'll rebound in a certain way where they could maybe, go into a situation where they'll be able to rebound from this. But they're in total chaos right now. They don't have a manager that really knows what he's doing yet. He could become that, and then you have question marks around the entire team. The only players that I have no question marks about is basically McKennie and Delit, and that's it. Because all the rest of the team, for the most part, and I guess you could throw some other people in there, but Chiesa is another one. So those are the ones that I see. Okay, I love those. Those are tough. Those are players. Those are Juve players that can do stuff. But the rest of the team is just a bunch of question marks.
No, Bernard Bonucci being one of them, and then I agree with you. I'm not a Juve fan, but 100%, I would have given that armband to Delit a long time ago, because Chiellini's Chiellini, Chiellini's Toucan Sam, you can call him whatever, Bonucci. But I find with Chiellini and Bonucci, they're hotheads, and I feel like with the whole Bonucci, the Milan and Juve situation, I'm like, can you give him the armband? Like, Chiellini, nah. So I think that Delit for sure. Give him the armband, make him this great defender that he is and should be and deserves him, and give him that chance, give him that kind of. And again, you brought up the whole, him being a captain at Ajax at 19, and it's, and what he did was phenomenal. He had literally almost like pretty much a whole country behind him. Even if they weren't even Ajax fans, even if they weren't, supporters of Ajax, they loved him. The way that he went up, and I think he posted a video, or someone posted a video of him just screaming with the fans and with the Ajax fans, and
I think that was Frankie de Jong at Barca, but all of those players had that relationship with Ajax. I know a lot of Roma fans were getting into Ajax. Like, I was the only Roma fan that said good luck the rest of the season after we knocked them out, because I have an Ajax flag on my wall. I mean, I love Ajax. They're a team that I always have a lot of respect for, and the fans are crazy. And the beautiful thing that Ajax does is they give belief to young players that So in other teams, De Ligt is not allowed to do what he did at Ajax and
Yeah.
Deschamps and all the rest of them that ended up moving on and stuff. And Ajax allowed him to be that captain, and he just embodied captainship with Ajax. And remember,
Yeah.
this is basically the club that it was the Johan Cruyff changed the game at Ajax and things like that. And it's a very big burden to carry, especially when you wear the armband of that club,
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
understand what the number 14 has meant to
Yeah.
football as a whole and to that club. And for De Ligt to be able to take that responsibility at such a young age, nobody questioned it, no one denied it, and he just led by example, knocking out Real Madrid, knocking out Juventus, and almost making the Champions League final that they would have won if they'd have gone
Oh
through.
yeah.
So I mean, the Spurs, or Liverpool's the worst Champions League final I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But so
Yeah.
you look at all the qualities that he has in a defender, and again, whoever if you think Ruben Diaz or Van Dijk or Ramos is better, I'm not here to debate that. But
No. When I said Van Dijk, no. I'd rather take De Ligt over Van Dijk.
Yeah.
Like, I think De Ligt is great. Like, don't get me wrong. I think he's
no.
he's
It's all about
fantastic.
opinion. I think it's all about opinions, and that's totally okay.
Yeah.
It's not to say that if you don't think this I think of this way or this way. It's just everybody's in a position now where you think differently.
It's
so.
Oh yeah.
So there's a lot of different variables to this. I look at De Ligt as from a defensive perspective and things like that, and people look at it in different ways. Because when I played, I was a right back, but same kind of.
Same here. Holy shit!
Really?
That too. Yeah.
Were you free? Were you a free kick specialist as well, or is that just?
No, I was more of like a Pirlo. So like I'd set up the balls from like the other half, and I'd kind of set people up. But like I'd just go up. I was like kind of a Spinazzola or like a Marcelo. I'd just go up and down, and kind of more of that attacking, maybe like a white right wing back at times. Free kicks, I'd like forget about it.
Yeah.
I'd let the other buddy do it. I couldn't. I was like, nah, I don't have patience for that. But no, that was my. Because I hated center back. I hated, staying in the middle. I wanted to move as much as I could.
Yeah.
But yeah, right back was like, it's such a, I love that.
I was
so
like
good.
The guy in Bayern, Benjamin Pavard. So I'm good defensively, but I also could attack if needed. But I'm not gonna. I scored more free kicks in Minnesota than anybody at least in my time there. I don't know if it still stands. So I was really good at free. Now I don't know if I could hit any. I couldn't even. But at the time,
videos. I got to see these vids. I got to see the tapes.
But at the time, I felt like Roberto Carlos, kind of.
Yeah. Exactly.
But so Carlos, But the thing is, I was kind of a defensive midfielder stuck in a right back's body, kind of. So I identified with guys like Joshua Kimmich because that's the way I played. But I've still played further back. But anyway, so the reason I look at De Ligt so much is I look what he does in his one-on-one match, and the way I think his intelligence is one of the best I've seen at that position.
Oh yeah.
I'm not saying he's the greatest, but from the way he sees the game is unlike I've seen it from very, very few players, especially at a young age. And I did a podcast at the beginning of the year after I think Inter had just lost to Juve. So this is last year, and Lautaro Martinez and Lukaku did nothing. And I called him the black hole because every time they got into attacking position, they couldn't. Because if you just look at the way they match up against him, Martinez actively runs away from him. So it's like one of those things. So the reason I think De Ligt is so important to Juventus is because of what he can provide. And then you look at some of the other things that Juventus need to do to rebuild this whole thing, because they're in the worst place they've been in decades. And it's almost as bad as when they got charged with cheating. That 100%. But it's just like and then Milan's not in a great place either. But I think there's a realistic possibility Juventus misses out on the Champions League. And to be honest, I dislike Inter and Lazio more than Juventus, but I would love to see them not make the Champions League.
Not because of I hate them with all the passion stuff like that, but I'm just curious how they're gonna pick up from this? How are they going to recover from this? What are they going to do? Because it's not because, okay, we didn't qualify. Okay, we're going to stick what we got. No, there's going to be some changes, and there's going to be some big changes. Huge. Like that midfield, like we've always said and ripped apart, that midfield's got to be stripped clean and pretty much start over in that sense, right?
Yeah.
And Ronaldo and stuff. But we look at the Milan game, and I feel like man, we're just like all over them. And I felt like Juve were just not even in that mindset. They're like, we're not in this game.
It could have been way worse. It could have been the Roma game. It could have been like 5-0.
Yeah, exactly.
And the reason I'm sort of disappointed that Francesco couldn't join us today is because of Szczesny's positioning on the first goal. Because
oh my God.
I was watching that, and I'm like, what are you doing? Get up! And then I'm just thinking of what he's thinking in this very moment, and I just wanted that rant. But I think that a lot of it, it's not just Szczesny that was horrible. I don't understand what he was trying to do. And then you look at, they just couldn't do anything, and it's like it seemed so one-sided. You wouldn't know that one of these teams is one of the biggest clubs in Italy, and the other one is one that's in transition. And it's just Milan just made them look really pathetic. And yes, I guess there's possibilities now they don't make the Champions League, and they're in big trouble because Liverpool's not making the Champions League either. But I can easily make a case that Liverpool is a very even without Champions League football is a very marketable place for someone to go. And if you're a player that's moving into something and it looks like they're not going to get it, yet they still signed Coyote from Leipzig without Champions League football.
Yeah, Juve's is sick.
That's insane. Juve's not signing anybody without Champions League football. They'll sign people not who they want, and it just doesn't seem there's a lot of brains going around in because I saw the report from a few weeks ago that they're going to try to use Weston McKennie to get Castrovilli to Juve. Which defeats the purpose of having one of the best defensive midfielders in the league. You're going to get rid of one and then replace it with another. So you're not actually. First of all, Weston McKennie is better than Castrovilli to me.
Second, more bulk of the strength too.
And again, this is his whole thing with a lack of appreciation he gets, not only in American circles but in her circles, because when you think of exciting, when you think of flash, when you think of he's great highlights. That's not Weston's game. His game is ugly. His game is control. His game is making things difficult on the opposition in a tactical sense, and that's why everybody loves CP over there in Chelsea. But the reason Weston still is clear of everybody, at least who wears the red, white, and blue, is because it's not flashy. His highlights aren't impressive, but it's the way he can control a game from that position. You look at the first game he played, comes up, first game in Serie A, starts, boom, and he almost scores a couple of times. It was a great performance in that first game against Sampdoria. And it's so if you're getting rid of somebody like that, for one, who's better than the player you're trying to get, you're defeating the purpose. If you want to bring Castrovilli to play alongside Weston McKennie, that's one thing. But to use him as like a trade piece, who's you're probably outside of De Ligt and Ronaldo is the best player in Juventus.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
It's just a lot of the brains behind the Juventus transfer policy doesn't make sense. And who's on OR will be available this summer for 30 million, and that would be the perfect signing for Juventus. But without Champions League football and without changes that go on within the organization, I can't think of a way that he could think that's a good idea. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like he's gonna say, okay, I want to go to Juventus. He wanted to go to Juventus last year, but things change because last year Atalanta looked like a title contender, and then Gasperini, did what he did, and their best player is gone, and their second best player is on the way out. So things can change very quickly. So Atalanta, for example, was a very interesting place to go before this season. That was an interesting landing spot for players. It's not become that now. It's become this, and you have a spark plug off the bench super sub like Luis Mariel, who's been great, but now people think that he's underrated and he deserves to play at the Bernabeu and stuff like that.
Yeah, I just like, I'm glad, like, even said it too. He's like, "Well, I don't want to go to Inter. I want to try to win the Scudetto with Atlanta." And I'm like, "Oh, that's cute. Like not with a manager like Gasperini, and if Zapata is
Yeah,
out the
and
door,
it's more
it's not happening."
yeah, it's the perception of Muriel because Muriel is a very good player. But
Oh, he's
don't
great.
get
He's
confused.
great.
Just because
Yeah,
he's putting up big numbers does not make him a world level.
yeah,
He's as good as you can get at what he does. But he's
yeah,
not like he can't carry that team by himself.
yeah,
Again, he missed the penalty in the game against Sassuolo. It was
yeah.
a horrible penalty, by the way.
Oh yeah,
So,
terrible.
but the point is, and I know this kind of sounds crazy the way I'm kind of phrasing this, but it all comes together because with situations change. Atlanta now is not a very good destination for a player hitting the market. It doesn't have a draw. Kind of like Juventus doesn't have the same appeal that it did at the beginning of the summer. And because you had Dybala coming off a great season, you had Ronaldo, who I thought he was good last year, but he wasn't like world class, even though he had world class numbers. But you had a lot more stable places, things going on where a player like Hussein Awar would be interested in going to Juventus. Where now you got to think about it before you make that move. And I think of all the big teams in Europe, other than maybe Arsenal, Juventus have become less. It's become less interesting for players who are on the move this summer, and they're in real trouble, and they'll always find a way to be relevant. But there could be a couple years here where we're not winning anything, because I think Inter probably gonna. I'm kind of with Francesco on this whole thing. I don't like Inter at all, but the fan base of Inter and Roma don't get along. So and Totti's always hated Inter, so et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
But and I'd rather not this happen, but it looks like Inter has an opportunity to win again. Now,
yeah,
I don't think they can win three because the team is too old for them to do that
yeah,
unless they kind of do some gymnastics and sort of how they're gonna put together a team. But with Juventus' current situation, I have a hard time believing they're gonna all of a sudden do this horrible season, then come back next year and look like they're gonna be contending. And so I think eventually we'll get back into it after a while, but it could be a couple of years. Which, with all fairness, Juve fans have won a title every season for the last decade. I don't feel too
yeah,
bad for them, but so
yeah. They
so
can suck it up.
yeah, I think that, but I think they're in it. If Pirlo next season isn't working, they have to make some. I don't know what they can do at this point. If you look at some of the managers out there, other than Zidane, I think they don't have a lot of options, which is why the risk of hiring him or Pilro this last summer was I didn't understand it, and now they're stuck, and they're stuck in a position where they can't really get out of it because you have an aging superstar in Ronaldo, you have Dybala who's probably leaving, you have a lot of other pieces that don't fit other than maybe McKinney, DeLitt,
Mm,
and Murata is a loan deal, but his buy option is 42 million.
they're
If you
not
can
gonna
do that,
keep
they're
him.
they're insane.
Hmm.
So it's all kind of capulating to this point where Juventus are going to always be in the conversation because they're Juventus. But
Yeah,
I think if they don't, the next couple decisions they make in the summer will dictate everything because if they make the wrong choices, it's going to put them back an extra couple of years. And again, I don't mind that, but that's the territory they're landing in. And it's not just that AC Milan aren't in a great position either, but they've imploded this season and still wiped the floor with those jokers.
hmm. So be interesting to see. And again, like we'll get next episode. We'll talk about the Juve and Milan game just to get Francesco's reaction
Yeah.
on Chesney's ruin.
Just that
And this
I
is
just want his reaction, not on the game. That one
yeah,
moment
no, just for that part. That's
because when I saw what was it, Ibrahim Diaz hit a shot and then so Chesney was kind of dealing with it and then he hit the floor and I'm just sitting like the net is open. What is he doing? Get up! And then
yeah,
it hits that. I think might have been Diaz or Repic. I don't remember which one, but one of them hit the top, basically hit it in the corner with an empty goal. With Chesney still trying to get off the ground.
yeah. And this is the same goalkeeper that's linked to Borussia Dortmund, and I'm scared. I'm terrified. I do not want him at Borussia. Like it's they're out of their minds. I don't know who's doing the scouting or transfers for this team, but do not sign. He needs to go back to the Polish league and start over.
I don't
That's
know
it.
about that. He deserves to be in a top 4 league.
No.
He doesn't.
No. All jokes aside,
Yeah,
he does.
but he doesn't deserve to be playing on a team like that. But you have to understand that Dortmund right now, just for people who are not paying attention, they are famously they're trying to throw the Champions League away.
Oh
And
yeah.
because every so up until recently they were just basically getting these 2-0 leads and then just like and then boom,
losses
and then and they've lost pretty much every big game other than the one on the weekend. And they're a team trying to make the if they make the Champions, don't make the Champions. They need more stability in the goal. Roman Berkey has been a great servant for that club, but and the other one I don't even know the guy's name, that Swiss guy. He hasn't done well, but like you have to go and actually do, because if you shine Szczesny for Dortmund, that's especially with a new manager. If you watched him at all this season, you're gonna look at him like, do you really know what you're doing? Because I don't know, Szczesny could work in a team in the middle of the table in England. Maybe go to West Ham or something like that. I could see that being a good move for him. I could see him going to France somewhere. But a top tier team with world class talent is not a place that Szczesny should belong.
Yeah. He needs to, like you said, he needs to go to just to get an attitude adjustment too, and just say like, oh shoot, like I had a chance playing a top team. I was being shitty about it, and wherever I was being. Now let me work hard now and just see that revolution kind of go back. And I mean,
maybe he goes down to Schalke and helps them get back to the Bundesliga.
Imagine! Oh my God, that'd be crazy.
I would love that.
That'd be crazy.
All jokes aside, I think that would be. I actually think it'd be good for him because he has a mentality problem and he has an attitude problem.
No, for sure. He needs to go rock bottom and just teach himself how to get up and how to treat, especially his defenders, with respect and teamwork. And he makes a mistake, like Francesco says, and he blames it on the first person he sees. It's like, no, you got to take responsibility of your actions.
It's not always his fault, but when it is, he never takes accountability. And I think that's a lesson I think in general just in life, that you have to always take accountability for your actions. I ripped on Man City for the last 3 years. I said there's no way they're beating Bayern. If, with all due respect, if Lewandowski plays, I don't believe I have to apologize to anybody. But I took accountability for what I had said. Now, I don't ever regret things I say because in the moment, that's what I believe. So
of course.
I love when people tag me and stuff I said 6 months ago. I'm like, dude, I don't regret.
I hate that too.
I legitimately in the moment that's what I believed. Why would I change my tune on that?
Yeah.
But eventually Man City proved me wrong. I apologize. I said, well done, congratulations. Had to take them seriously. But it's just one of those things in any football situation where Szczesny needs to take accountability for himself, which is why I would like to see him steep to a low. Not maybe Schalke, but maybe I don't see him going to another Serie A team. So maybe like a team like Freiburg, Union Berlin, something like that. Although I think Union Berlin is a little above his standard right now.
Union Berlin, like can't joke around too much with them. They're not bad.
And they're a team that wants to make the Conference League. They want to be in Europe. They don't even care what it is. They weren't expected to do anything. But going to a team like for him, a team that's maybe not a relegation team, but maybe a tad above, a team that barely survives, that's where he needs to go to reassess his attitude. And then he's going to realize, I was sitting in front of a backline that had De Ligt, Bonucci, and Chiellini. And at Roma, I had Ferenzi, I had Rudiger, I had Manolas. And he's going to realize very quickly in a situation like that maybe I should have taken better advantage of those opportunities because
take it for granted.
It just seems like that's where he's heading. And I think Szczesny's a guy, like from a personality standpoint. I think he's a very entertaining guy. I think he's well intentioned, but he just has an attitude problem. Like the Porto game that he always brings up is like. That he makes that mistake, or Bentancur makes the mistake, but he's also involved in that. And then the first thing he does is yell at his best defender, who wasn't involved in play.
Yeah. He's just nuts. So, anyways, as the season concludes, again we're looking forward to Euros and Mourinho coming to Rome, and that's what I'm excited for. Is that first matchup week? Very
I hope
excited,
it's Inter.
obviously.
I hope it's Inter.
Yeah, no,
I hope it's
seriously,
match day one Inter Roma.
yeah,
I want it to be in Milan for that first
yeah,
game of the season. Like this should that should be the first game of the season, and there shouldn't be any other games that day. I want that to be the only gameplay that day, just because everybody will be watching Conte versus Mourinho, and
yeah,
Inter are way better than us. But if we end up winning by a shock in a game like that, where Mourinho
yeah,
is a Mourinho
yeah,
masterclass and he's doing the ear
yeah,
thing or
yeah,
running down the sideline, I think that's incredible. And obviously, you got the Euros coming up, and we obviously play on Saturday, which I'm
yeah,
still pissed that we have to play so many games so quickly.
yeah.
And then I think next week is the final matches of the season, where everything kind of comes into fruition, and then the Euros and Italy going out. Wait.
Foods. We shall see. I mean, yeah, I am kind of scared because it's the players that we expect to perform and expect to do better. They're kind of slacking in a sense. It's like Immobile, Belotti,
I
Moiskin,
would look.
like
I want Italy to do well, but I think, and I'm not even joking when I say this. I think there's a very high possibility that they will go out to a team like Russia, genuinely, because the thing is, I might have just given away who I have knocking out Italy, but but
you hear here, folks.
that
Yeah,
was I did that a few months ago, and that was my initial prediction, so I'll probably adjust.
right.
But the problem I
Yeah,
have with Italy, just real quick to cap off,
yeah.
is they have all these talents. They don't have no experience. There's not a single player on that team that's played in a European World Cup or Euros. So what are you going to do when you have, and you can scoff at teams like Russia and Poland and Switzerland. All of those teams have played in World Cup games and Euro games over the last recently, because they had made the World Cup before and they're going to be in the Euros this season. So all of those teams that I just mentioned made the World Cup. They have experience in those games. Italy has none. All they have is talent, and nothing scares me more than a team that's just talented, because I think the Netherlands are just talented.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at some of the other teams, and obviously even England has experience. They may not have. They made the semifinal, even though it was kind of the weakest route to a semifinal ever. You have teams like Portugal who have experience and young players. It's just, I think to a certain extent, I think Italy bit off more than they can chew, and yeah. So there's just not a lot of, and again, I'm cheering for Italy. I hope they do well. So I would rather them make a quarterfinal or a semifinal with
Mm-hmm.
Pellegrini holding the Euro trophy. But it's just with the Euros coming up, I'm just like, as someone who wants Italy to do well, I'm panicking on how bad this could go, and they're in a group that they should be able to handle, but there's also teams in that group who can rip Italy's head off. So it's just one of those situations where Mancini has to be very careful of what he takes to,
Very.
because I think you can take Moise Kean is in there. You can take either Bellotti or Immobile. I don't think you can take both,
Yeah,
because
it's
I
one or
think it
the other.
counteracts it. And if you take either one of those two, Moise Kean has proven to be able to deliver with the Italy jersey on.
Yeah,
Immobile looks like Zaza with the Italy jersey on, and Bellotti looks like when he was at Palmerino when he puts the jersey on. So I
yeah.
mean, from Italy's point of view, it's just like you got to go with you have to go with the guys who have played the best in the jersey, and the
Mm.
fact that Verratti just hurt himself and he's out for 4 to 6 weeks,
Oh, that's insane.
that's like, honestly, that's probably the best
Huge
player that
blow.
they have right now. So now
Yeah,
that you've taken that dynamo out of the midfield, you're going to force someone into a position that they shouldn't be in. And again, I wish them well. I want all of them to do well, just because a lot of them are representing our league, and we want our league to have more respect and
yeah,
all this stuff. But there's just got a lot. There's a lot of.
yeah,
I've got a whole bunch of question marks surrounding that team specifically.
yeah. So, one way to find out, obviously, we'll do news and coverage for that once it happens and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But this concludes our episode. Very good talk. But again, guys, you hear it here first. Next episode, we're gonna get Francisco's reaction on Chesney's play on the Juve Milan game. Even though it's gonna be a week ago, whatever, we're
That
still
that
gonna
should be
get
no.
his way.
That should be the opening. That should be the opening segment. You start the show with him just explaining the goal that he conceded against AC Milan, the first one I think it was.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. We will do them. All right, guys. Till next time. See you later. Ciao, ciao for now. See you guys.